Good evening.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
We'll call to order the City Commission meeting for Tuesday, August 26, 2025. We will have roll call by Melissa.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye, here.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Here.
Mayor Maples.
Here.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Here.
And Commissioner Jones is absent this evening.
Okay, we will move on to the invocation by Pastor Doug Mund of Grace Fellowship Church. Will everyone please stand?
Again, thank you for the opportunity and allowing me to pray here. If we could bow our heads. Heavenly Father, as we come before you tonight, I pray a special prayer over our commission for wisdom and for Pam's health, Lord, and for guidance, and guide us in the election coming up. We pray for your grace and mercy. Lord, get all of our city employees safety as they go about, as the summer comes to end, but still so many fall projects as they're out and about on the streets and roads around town. Be with them. And Lord, give them wisdom in their jobs and all they do. We pray for our city manager and clerk and our lawyer for our legal advice. Wisdom for them and all they do. Lord, bless our community. Bless our county and our state, the southeast part of Kansas. Lord, we need your guidance as we prepare for the fall and things go quickly and it seems it'll be like the new year. Bless us as only you can so that we can aid and help others that are also in need. We pray this all for your glory. In your name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now have a review of our agenda. We'll now consent agenda, the City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, August 12th, 2025, and the 2025 appropriation ordinance number AO-25-16 in the amount of $5,531,286.37. And we will have highlights from Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Okay, thank you. We have Ashland Tree Expert Company, $20,411.75. We have Delta Dental of Kansas. These are dental claims, $5,722. We have Ditch Witch for a trencher, $26,264. Dixon Concrete. This is for our up-and-coming excitement fountain at the Sunken Gardens. This is for the fountain floor, $2,400. We have Grand River Dam Authority, $3,240,611. We have Jared Gilmore and Phillips. This is for our 2024 audit that, if you will remember, he was here last time and gave that report, $14,900. We have JKS Construction. This is the 5th and Santa Fe Street Box Culvert number 1 payment, $50,485. We have Lochner. This is for runway 17 out at the airport, the analysis and the design, $105,200. We have Southwest Power Pool, $288,227. And we have Southwestern Power Administration, $25,321. And our payroll, $858,684.15.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, I will move to approve items 1 and 2 of the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
All
Motion
right,
is-
we will now move on to appropriation ordinance
Motion
number...
is
I'm
made
sorry.
by Mayor Maples,
I'm pushing it through.
seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to approve items 1 and 2 of the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Jones. I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Yes, aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
I've got everybody.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye. We're losing control.
Yes.
We are.
We're going to take a breath. Now we're going to go to the 2025 appropriation ordinance number AO-25-16A for Ishams and Lieberts in the amount of $19.99. And I will move to approve item 3 of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve item 3 of the consent agenda as presented. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Abstain?
Commissioner Hendricks.
Yes.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Okay, we will move on to comments from the public. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized, advance to the podium, state his or her name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. The commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. The commission does not take action on subjects not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they are brought to the floor. Do we have any comments? Come on up, state your name and address.
I am Alicia Melton, and with Touch of Life Ministries here in Coffeyville, our address is 501 East 9th. I am here tonight just kind of to give you guys an update and also tell you thank you for all of your support so far. We kind of went through some hardships this summer, and I'm going to try to do this and I lost my husband earlier this year, and normally I pick up any slack with the ministry. If the funds that we have come in don't cover enough, whatever, I take care of it because we were able to. I'm not able to do that anymore. And at this time, we are needing assistance with further funding for our electric or utilities at that building for the warming center. Sorry, guys.
You're okay. Take a breath. Take your time.
So the reasoning, I know the warming center was done in March, but this summer, even with the loss of my husband, we still carried on. We're still conducting Friday night services and feeding people on Friday nights. We are still, and actually have launched this year, recovery classes once a week. We currently have 3 individuals participating in that. We are also, that program is going to, when it's finished, go directly into a financial hope program. So once we get through with the recovery section, then they will go straight into financial, learning how to do all of that stuff, basic budgeting, really. And we're helping guide them to find better jobs and all of those things. So with that, our utility use was a little more this summer than normal. But the evidence is in the people that are being served. We have also just did our back to school event. 84 children received shoes, socks, and numerous haircuts to go back to school this year. And we're getting ready to get for our Christmas baskets that we do every year. And of course, the warming center. Of course, we have a team coming up on the 15th of September to do some upgrades. They're hoping to get a shower put in for us, put in some heat air units in our bigger classroom areas that don't currently have any heat or air in them, which will help reduce costs because we're not having to run what we do have so much. And also, making those rooms more accessible so we can do more classes and do more things along those lines. So with that, I'm seeking another $1,000 credit towards our utility bill. And if there's any forms I need to fill out, I will be happy to do that.
Yeah. I was going to say, is there a special procedure that she needs to abide by?
I think in this particular situation, it'd be probably best if you wanted to come in and meet with me, and we can go over that. And
Okay.
I think we've got different programs, things, so to understand the full need, I did hear you say some things about the recovery program. When it goes down that route, there might be other funding. So I would suggest that we set up a time outside of this meeting to go review that and see what our options are.
I think that's a great
That would
idea.
be
Okay.
good.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Sure.
Because what you're doing there is wonderful.
Yes.
And I remember when you were here last year, you talked about teaching those people how to help themselves.
Right.
And I remember the financial class and the budgetary things that you were doing, which I think is wonderful, because how else will they
Right.
know if
Right.
someone doesn't help them understand?
You know, and I mean, unfortunately, the cycle of poverty in this community without reteaching,
Right.
it's just going to continue.
That's
Correct.
So what you do is wonderful and much appreciated.
Thank you.
So, and thank you for continuing, even though you've lost your
Yeah.
partner, your husband, your soulmate. But I think he would be knowing him, just from when he would come in, knowing him, he would be very happy that
Thank
you
you.
are continuing that.
Thank
And
you.
that's a great testament to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I don't have a business card
Anyone
on me,
else?
but there's my phone number.
Okay, we will now move on to public hearings, special presentations, and proclamations, of which we have none. Old business, we will have a second reading of ordinance G-25-02, an ordinance repealing Chapter 2, Article 6, Division 4 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coffeyville relating to Coffeyville Regional Medical Center Board of Trustees. Anybody?
No,
I don't
this
think
is
we have any
the
questions.
Nope.
second
Okay.
reading. I will move to approve our second reading of ordinance G-25-02 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve the second reading of ordinance G-25-02 as presented. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
And we will now also have second reading of ordinance S-25-07, an ordinance to vacate an easement within the city of Coffeyville, Kansas at Patterson Square. We kind of went over that one last
Yep,
time
we did.
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
No questions.
I will move to approve the second reading of ordinance S-25-07 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Hendricks to approve the second reading of ordinance S-25-07 as presented. Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Okay, then again, second reading of ordinance G-25-04, an ordinance amending Chapter 8 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coffeyville by adding new sections 8.2 through 8.8 for the purpose of regulating abandoned and vacant commercial buildings within the city.
This is the same as we had
Yep.
last time. The only thing is, in between when we had our meeting last time, I heard a lot of good and welcome comments about this. And so thank you, Amber, for what you did on this, and to our Planning and Zoning Commission for wanting more in it. It's much appreciated. So with that, I will move to approve the second reading of ordinance G-25-02 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve the second reading of ordinance G-25-04 as presented. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye. All right, moving on to new business. Ordinance G-25-03, an ordinance amending the model zoning ordinance of the City of Coffeyville by amending Section 29.05.010 to add a definition for tiny homes and adding new sections to Chapter 29.010 to create a zoning overlay district for tiny homes. Director of Community Development, Amber Dean, will make comments. Good evening.
Good evening.
we are here to talk tiny homes again. So the only thing that we've really changed in the ordinance is the overlay zone. We've included from Overlook to the west to Inglewood Avenue, the 1400 block of West 1st and West 2nd between Buckeye and Wilkie Way, as well as where the substation is on West 1st. So city staff went out and drove these neighborhoods. These are larger homes, larger lots, and we just felt that tiny homes would not fit in these neighborhoods. So we just added them to the zone, and then we changed the color. It's now red instead of pink. Those are the differences.
And I think we recognize also that the areas in blue, it's probably the majority of that area is where the homes are coming down. We've got red tagged all the cleanup that we're doing, all the blighted areas.
Yes, we have a lot of homes coming down in those areas.
All right.
Okay.
I will move to approve the first reading of ordinance G-25-03 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Mayor Maples, to approve the first reading of ordinance G-25-03 as presented. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
One quick question. Do we have applications already for those tiny homes?
We have people waiting to submit their applications. We told them
Awesome.
to wait until it was approved, so.
Awesome.
Yep, wonderful.
Thank you. Okay, action to approve the environmental review certification and authorize the posting of the notice of intent to request a release of funds for the Brown Street Sanitary Sewer Renovation Project. Director of Community Development, Amber Dean, will make comments.
Okay, so we were awarded the CDBG grant for the Brown Street Sewer. This is a part of the process of getting the funding. We had to do an environmental review. That environmental review came back with no major impacts identified. There are some mitigations limited to construction procedures and waste disposal, nothing major. Will required approval. And then we have to post our notice of intent to request funds for 15 days. So once this is approved, we'll post it on our website in City Hall, wait 15 days, and then we can submit everything to CDBG to be able to draw down those funds.
Okay.
Okay.
And we
Sounds good.
first reviewed this about over a year ago,
No, we
Was
submitted
it a
this
year ago?
application earlier this year.
but we talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked
Last
about
year.
Brown Street for over a year, yeah.
Okay.
With the application.
Okay. Well, if
I'll-
there's- go ahead.
Good. I'll move to approve the environmental review certification and authorize the posting of the notice of intent to request release of funds for the Brown Street Sanitary Sewer Renovation Project.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Motion is made by Commissioner Hendricks, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster, to approve the environmental review certification and authorize the posting of the notice of intent to request release of funds for the Brown Street Sanitary Sewer Renovation Project. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Thank you, Amber. All right, ordinance G-25-05, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 4, Division 2, Section 2-154 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coffeyville, Kansas, relating to the investment of idle funds. Director of Finance, Martin Cummings, will make comments.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Long story short, what we were wanting to do was amend the language of this ordinance to allow city management and city commission to make determinations regarding the budgeting of these idle funds and how those are invested. And then once those investments are made and those returns are had, how we would disposition those earnings. Just real quickly, I will read that the section in question. Just read the language from it. I'll point out what is being added. We are not actually changing the existing language. We're adding to it. So it reads, regarding the interest of earnings or investments made pursuant to this division, city administration, at its discretion and in accordance with annual budgets, and that is new language, shall credit pro rata to the funds of the city from which the investments were made, or to the general fund as deemed necessary, or to, which is new language, or to such other funds as are permitted by statute or ordinance, except 7.5% of such earnings may be credited to the general fund as an administrative fee for handling of said investments and earnings, provided that that earnings are not already to be credited to the general fund in excess of such an amount. Okay. I think it's also worth noting that in contemplating the amendment to this ordinance, we did consult not only with our city attorney, but also with our city auditor. But both were in agreement that state statute permits this. I, in fact, had spoken at length with the auditor about this, and he said it's entirely at the discretion of the city how we choose to disposition those funds, provided that we're simply just transparent about it and making sure that everyone is aware that this is what we're doing and why we're doing it. So, did you have any questions on the matter?
When we say idle funds, how much are we talking about? Rough order of magnitude.
I was just looking at this earlier. So we, in our local bank account, any given time around $31 million, okay? And then in our investment accounts that we have that are not held in our bank, there's around $24 million, okay?
And what portion of that, worst case scenario, the reason I ask, worst case scenario, what portion of those funds are liquid to the point that we could access them in some kind of a worst case scenario emergency?
All funds available at our local bank are available for immediate disposition of use, so they're not tied up. I would prefer, rather than tripping up over everything, sending you a summary of the rest of our investments, which I do have readily available. Actually, I've been prepping it
That's
for
good.
another exercise.
24 million's a nice number.
Okay, all
Nice
right.
cushion.
So the 31 million is accessible.
Yeah, that is accessible with a couple clicks of the mouse. The 24 million, they are held presently they're being held at varying durations of, so it just depends. We are looking at reallocating some of those investments, and that's something we will we'll inform commission at length about what that's going to look like and kind of what our strategy is to try to maximize the returns on those idle funds. So.
And the return on these funds, they're not earmarked for specific issues, are they? Do they just go back into the general fund?
They will be allocated to the general fund. There's a couple of exceptions to that, and that would be regarding utility deposits, court bond. I think those are the two major exceptions. We retain the earnings that those get in their bank accounts, which is minimal right now, and hold those in those banks, because we do have to, at least particularly in the case of utilities, we do have to, when we refund utilities or credit those to the account, they have to be done with a certain amount of interest earned as prescribed by the KCC. So.
I do want to say out loud, for those both in the audience and listening, when we talk about idle funds, and you hear those amounts, very quickly you can go, oh, wow, the city has all this money. Why aren't you doing X, Y, Z? And so just to articulate through that, these funds are assigned funds. Some of them are enterprise accounts. They can only be used for that. These are budgeted funds. This is managed funds. This is not idle in the sense of it's sitting there and the city is not doing anything with it. By law, we are required through our budgeting process to assign those dollars within a budget. Of course, we're going through that process. Folks will see that here soon as published. But it's not idle in a sense that we're not necessarily doing anything with it. Some of those things we have to hold. We have regulations, requirements through bonds that we have on the amount of cash that you have. There are reserve funds in there. There are funds in there that have come in that are then transferred out. So this money is moving. It's not idle in the sense of the city's sitting on a bunch of money doing nothing with it. It is classified. It has a purpose. It has a reason. There is a benefit to the amount of money that we're talking about when it can sit in an account for a 3-month or a 6-month or even a 12-month period. The reason then we go put these funds in investments is we can legally earn interest on that money, which is a benefit to the city. I believe last year, 1.8, maybe $2 million that
Yeah.
we made in interest, and that does get to come back to the general fund. And so this ordinance that we just read off is, allowing that money now to move because it's an increase. So just want to kind of, we hear the word idle and millions of dollars. I don't want people to think that's something different.
And I think probably just worth clarifying, our reserve policy, which is something that we declare to the credit rating agencies, and they kind of get referenced in our bond covenants, and so we're obligated to them, does stipulate that the city maintains a 25% reserve, and that's 25% of its budgeted expenditures. So
That's a minimum.
That's the minimum. That is the minimum.
It's not safe, that's a minimum.
That's, yes. And so, generally speaking, we try to maintain, when you talk about the stuff that's, whether it's immediately available, how liquid is it, the least liquid of our funds is usually to the tune of that 25%. That way, there's no, it's a nice management tool, keeps it nice and safe, and we don't touch it, so. So anyway, just thought that was worth clarifying.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I'll move to approve the first reading of ordinance G-25-05 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Mayor Maples, to approve the first reading of ordinance G-25-05 as presented. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Okay, now, ordinance G-25-06, an ordinance adopting electric rate schedule SUP-25 pursuant to Chapter 42, Article 1, Section 42-6, and repealing the line extension policy of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coffeyville, Kansas. Executive Director of Electric, Chris Weiner, will make comments. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. Appreciate your time this evening. This is just the first reading, and would like to bring this to your consideration for updating our current line extension policy. Basically, want to, from my experience, has been a true line extension policy only applies to when we're truly extending the primary line of the city's network or the city's system. We have been operating a little bit differently, how we've been applying that here in Coffeyville, to where that's more so just a new service connection, regardless of if you need a new pole set, new transformer set, or not. So we've been offering it basically to all customers. So in my mind, that's not really a true line extension policy. So that's why I'm looking at modifying the name a little bit to a service upgrade policy. And with that, when this was set back in 2018, I believe, it was set with these static dollar figures for each of those rate classes. And I believe that those are a little bit, on the one hand, outdated, and on the other hand, I think that those numbers are a little bit arbitrary, and I'd like to make that a little bit more fair. In my opinion, that I think it should be on a percentage basis rather than on a just a pure credit up to amount. For instance, we've done a number of work here lately that has been done for free, essentially, for a lot of businesses that have came in, and that's great for those businesses, but for the city, for our utility, and for the rest of our customers, I feel like really that should be something that we pay maybe a percentage of that rather than the full cost of that new service upgrade. So that's why I've set that at a 20%. Across the board percentage, essentially, for whatever work is going to be required. That's my recommendation. If you would like to do something a little bit different, we can certainly consider that, but that's what I'm looking at, because the current rate, as you'll see, we go up to about $1,100, a little over $1,100 for a residential customer. Recently, we had somebody here locally that actually that works for us that built a home just off of our system, and they got a $2,000 credit on a $10,000 bill. So essentially, that was 20%. So I'd like to be more competitive on the residential side than what we are right now. I'd like to be able to give a little bit more back to the residential developers or to a homeowner building a new home. Whereas on the business side, we'll give almost $14,000 for that upgrade. For a general service or industrial, you'll see there $276,000. That's a substantial credit that I feel like we should be not eating all of that cost. If somebody comes in here and is going to make needs $500,000 worth of work, I think we should probably work with them, partner with them on that service upgrade that's going to be required, the setting of new poles, new transformers, whatever it may be. But we shouldn't be paying for half of that, in my opinion, in this case. Or if somebody's doing $250,000 worth of work, we're covering it all. I feel like we should partner on that and not just absorb a flat amount or up to a flat amount, in my personal opinion. So that's why I'm bringing that up for your consideration. And it's really a policy decision, but I feel like that's something that is at least worth talking about. So.
I think it's a good thought. What's the difference between you have residential, then you have residential developer? So residential would be?
So currently it's set up to where if I go and build a new home myself, then I qualify for that $1,100. But if I am a developer going and building a subdivision out, I qualify for that $800 per
So you'd
home.
rather that be like 20% for both?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
That makes sense.
I think it makes sense.
Okay, any other questions?
No.
Then I will move to approve the first reading of ordinance G-25-06 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Hendricks to approve the first reading of ordinance G-25-06 as presented. Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Thank you. Now, Resolution R-25-94, a resolution to authorize the purchase of a new skid steer loader and implements for the City of Coffeyville Electric Utility. Executive Director Chris Weiner will make comments.
All right, so this is part of our CIP plan, as you recall, or may recall, purchase of a new skid steer here. This is really to help us in a number of situations, but this skid steer is going to be capable of high flow attachments, making sure that we're able to utilize any of the implements that we may need, from a stump grinder to being able to lift heavy poles, 40-foot poles, etc. So it allows us to get into some areas that once we get our new backyard machine that's slated for next year, we'll be able to access some areas right now that we're in conjunction with this piece of equipment that we're not currently able to really do at the moment. Especially on the west area of town, if we were to have a big ice storm come through, a big windstorm come through, and really take down a lot of poles, a lot of line on some areas on the west side of town, we'd be in trouble. We have a lot of poles and easements, and there's a lot of fences that are very tight together that are difficult to get a bucket truck or digger derrick back in there. And so this would allow us to be able to access that and be able to conduct maintenance or replacement improvements. We could, if we have a bad storm, we could have people that are out of power right now for a couple weeks in the event that it's in the right place. So this equipment will help us better prepare for those types of events if they happen. Hopefully not, obviously, but that's something that I'd like to be prepared for that, and this machine will allow us to do that in conjunction to allowing us to be more efficient with a lot of what we have going on. But I am looking at going ahead and getting a lot of the implements along with the machine itself with this particular approval, if you so allow. This would include the skid steer with an 84-inch smooth edge bucket, pallet fork for the skid steer, also a double cylinder pole claw, and an auger attachment with an auger and extensions for the auger, as we need to dig up to 8-foot holes. So this will give us a number of implements and attachments for that already coming with it that will allow us to really hit the ground running with the machine and make sure that we're able to tackle a lot of the variety of jobs that we have out in the field.
So may I assume this was not a budgeted item?
It is budgeted. I have it as part of my CIP plan. So I think.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes.
Commissioner Faulkner, if you recall, one of our budget work sessions, we went in and did capital improvement plan over the next 2 years. And so This is now the presenting of that capital improvement for action on those things. So it is within the budget. We have reviewed. We did this with Public Works 8 months ago, pretty heavy, and you're now going to start seeing that with the electric department. Same thing on that equipment.
I will say that in the CIP, I had budgeted $120,000 for this machine, and for the bucket and the digger attachment, I'm asking here for 133, just under 134. So it's an extra 14 out of our CIP budget beyond what I had previously had budgeted or planned for. But the reason for that is because we're also looking at getting the pallet fork and the pole claw, a couple other attachments that will be beneficial for us, assuming you authorize that. From a budgetary standpoint, the additional 14,000 is definitely something that our CIP budget can handle. Really, that's based upon at this point the fact that you were gracious enough to grant us with some additional revenues coming here forward into the future, but we're doing okay so far this year, and certainly this will help us to stay on the right path.
Well, I notice you have to rent a skid steer if you need it, and that's going to get expensive and not convenient at all.
Right.
So,
And if we, in the event that we have to rent one or rent these attachments from time to time, in the event we do have a big storm come through the area, those attachments or those machines become very difficult to get, especially if Independence and Bartlesville, Claremore, et cetera, are also having the same type of issues that we are, and then we may have to go to Joplin to rent something, or Wichita, wherever, and it just makes it that much more difficult to be responsive and reliable from a power delivery standpoint.
I assume with the bucket, you're going to be doing some grading with it as well.
Yes, sir.
Did you not want the grade control?
Do we not have the grade control in there? I
It says
thought.
less grade control.
Oh.
I didn't know how much they would quote that, but it's kind of handy.
Right. No, I agree entirely. So I will visit with Mr. Taylor and make sure that we get it spec'd out exactly the way we want. I'm wondering if that might be a mistake on that. I apologize, but I'll verify, make sure that we want it to be as efficient and useful for us as possible. And so in that particular functionality, I don't anticipate it's going to be a big cost driver.
I didn't know.
no.
You'd have to see what they quote. So.
Right, and this does come with a 3-year warranty. We're purchasing the extended warranty along with it, just to make sure that we don't run into any problems.
Okay.
I'll move to approve Resolution R-25-94 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Faulkner, seconded by Vice Mayor Vannoster to approve Resolution R-25-94 as presented. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Vannoster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye. All right, Resolution R-25-95, a resolution to authorize a purchase order to Mueller Construction for the demolition of Cooling Tower 3 for the City of Coffeyville Electric Utility. Executive Director of Electric, Chris Weiner, will make comments.
So this is for the cooling tower that sits on the north side of the cooling towers we have sitting there just on the east side of the steam power plant downtown here. The cooling tower has not been on operation for a number of years. It is deteriorating, and there's sheet metal falling off of it, dangling, and will fall off from time to time. It needs to be demolished. It's been as part of the plan for the utility for a number of years. It's always just been pushed off because it's not cheap, as you see, to get this demolished. But it is something that I have a severe concern that if we don't move forward with, that at some point we're going to be liable for a pretty tragic incident where somebody gets hurt. We have a windstorm come through town, blow off a piece of sheet metal from that cooling tower and injure or potentially kill somebody. We will have certainly wished we would have went ahead and spent the money to tear it down. So want to try and get that done to make sure that we can get that taken care of, and then we plan to utilize it either for a storage location or parking area, but we'll get that brought down and be able to have a little bit extra space to utilize, but the main thing is to try and resolve a dangerous situation.
Okay. All right. I will move to approve Resolution R-25-95 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Mayor Maples to approve Resolution R-25-95 as presented. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, we will now have our city manager's report.
Thank you. It's amazing how this list grows as I sit here and things come up on what we're going to report. First, just a quick update. 4th Street is done and it looks great. You'll notice still that, as we mentioned last meeting, there are some abnormal bumps in it. We've had inspector and engineers come out. They will be here on Thursday based on the contract that we have with appropriate tools to go and verify. It's I believe they call it a flat edge, and there's within a certain amount of allowances. We're talking, 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch, and so we'll be out there inspecting that this Thursday. We've had those meetings in the last 2 weeks, and we'll get you results as we find them. Worst case scenario, it's within an acceptable limit, and we have to deal with it. On the other side of the worst is that it's not, and now we have to involve attorneys and contracts and go back in. So not over yet. We'll let you know as we get more information there. The log jam, as of yesterday, we had approval from one of the residents to access their property to come into that log jam. We're waiting for the approval on the other. We have reached out to the county. We're scheduling. We anticipated them coming out this week, but with the weather, that might get delayed. We want to really tear up the property when it gets really wet in there. So we're playing that by ear, and what both the county is willing to come out and getting that approval, but that is moving forward. I'm just gonna pass around here. As you know, we have the Coffeyville Veterans Memorial Park Association that has been formed in the last year and a half or so, and they've been given permission to build a new veterans memorial in our cemetery there. That's right at the corner of Woodland and Klein. They would like to put up a 4x8 sign on the corner there, kind of announcing both an opportunity to fund what the project is. There's a design for that project, and so I did want to pass this around. Essentially what you see there would be the sign in a 4x8 version, backed by a piece of plywood. It would be plastic. We would put that, stake that into the city's property there, making sure we follow our own sign ordinances and everything appropriate. Not asking for approval or anything here, just giving you notification that that will be going up, and also wanted to back that up with, we have been working on the Veterans Advisory Board to add that to our boards. We have created that. We've sent it back. They've done some red lines, so we're still going back and forth. We're hopeful that ordinance, I think that'll be an ordinance. That ordinance will come before you at our next meeting here and move forward. And what that ordinance is intended to do is, one, bring some legitimacy to this project. People realize this is really a city-backed project, as well as create a tool so that as that advisory, as that association goes away, there is a committee here that the city is now taking care of that would be city property, and ultimately responsibility to maintain and care in the future, as we've had with the other one. you've seen Facebook today, and I did reach out to a few of you, didn't catch all of you by phone, but we had a semi-truck come through going westbound under the railroad bridge on 11th, and they were about 6 inches too tall. And they hit that bridge and moved it about 6 inches itself. So significant damage, probably millions of dollars worth of damage. So immediately came out. Of course, PD was there. Public Works came out. It took a while. They did a lot of cutting, a lot of getting the air out of tires, doing everything they could to lower that. But they did get that truck out. We have a detour now going up Patterson and on 8th, and that will remain for a few days, if not longer. Our estimation as we looked at the damage was this is going to be a week or two. What we're being told right now by the railroad is, 3 days we'll have it done. So we will see how long that's going to take. It looks really nice right through there. It's all painted and cleaned out. Coffeyville Proud came through, but now it's blocked off for people not to see it. So, two things I wanted to turn over. Marty, I know we had some pre-conversations. Any other further explanation on changes to the appropriations submission for agendas that you need to have in this meeting, or are we good on those changes?
So obviously, we're trying to improve upon the previous reporting format that we've been submitting these the appropriations register to you guys. It's very sprawling. Looks like it was printed on a 90s printer, even though it was not. That's just the way it's formatted. And so we've gotten to the point now where we're able to get that information exported into an Excel format now. So we're now trying to play with new formats to try. It's a lot easier to manipulate now to make it hopefully easier for you guys to review either in depth or at a quick glance, whichever it is that you happen to be doing. So Melissa sent out a sample, a version of this week's appropriation ordinance in a potential format that we could use. I'm not married to it by any means, so please, if there's something different you want to see, conversation with one of the commissioners earlier, maybe we'd like to see it by instead of by fund, and then within the fund what's being spent by vendor, maybe the other way around. We want to go by vendor and then look at it by fund, and that way we could see how what the vendors by vendor, how much business we're giving per fund, per grouping of operations that we do in the city. There's any number of things we can do. So just your input, your feedback is valuable. We actually can deliver something that's a little more tailor-made for you guys. So by all means, reach out to me or Melissa or Ben and let us know. Any ideas. If we can do it, we'll try to do it. We're hopefully getting it to where it's not this giant. How many pages was it this week?
I think it was 58 this week. It's usually anywhere between 50 and 60 pages.
And I think the sample we sent to you was about half that length. So, but it had fundamentally all the same data, just how we arrange it. So, we're just trying to improve on that as we go along here. So
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Marty. Melissa has some updates on CMB.
Yes, so we had, City Clerk Group had a call with Kansas Department of Revenue on the changes that are effective September 1st for the cereal malt beverage license procedure. So applicants will now send the application first to the Kansas Department of Revenue Alcohol and Beverage Control. ABC, all they're doing is checking to see that the application is complete. If it's complete, they send the application along with the CMB stamps back to the applicant. Then the applicant will bring that application and the stamps in to the clerk's office, and then we'll proceed as, business as normal. The background checks, fire department inspection, and bring it to commission for approval. To note, there is House Bill 2376 It's currently in the state legislature, and that would transfer the CMB licensure from cities and counties to the Kansas Department of Revenue, ABC, much like the liquor license is now. There hasn't been any movement on it, but, you know, we'll see if there is when they reconvene in January.
Thank you. This Friday at 11 a.m., we have our, calling it the grand reopening of our sunken garden and fountain at Feaster Park. We've put invites out. Madam Mayor will be there. Ron Bryce as well, Representative Ron Bryce as well as Lisa Brookover, speaking a little bit about the history there. We've had just a lot of excitement from the community as we've posted this on Facebook, and we've watched updates, just extreme amount of people engaging with that. So I think we have a lot of happy people that's coming out, and it's bright and it's fun, and we encourage people as that gets opened up to come out there and spend time, go up there and reminisce. We've had a lot of people come in, talk about how they had wedding receptions there and birthdays there, so we're real excited about that and invite commissioners and the public to join us for that. Matter of business for our November commission meeting, it falls on Veterans Day, and so we'd like to change that date per commission's desire there. City staff will be off that day, and I know of at least 2 veterans that appreciate that day off here. Any
Why
thoughts
don't
on?
just go to the Thursday, 2 days later?
That's what I'm thinking.
Acceptable to you? Does that work for everyone?
13th. The 13th?
13th?
It's fine with me.
Great. We'll
Okay.
plan on moving that day.
Okay.
Coffeyville Proud, two Fridays ago now, just a major success, another real positive thing for our community. We've had lots of people reach out wanting to be a part of that. That is something where we got together and went out into the community and did service projects at a variety of different locations. We're going to continue that, Coffeyville Proud. We plan to do one of those in November as well. We are looking for more submissions. We are engaging with some of our churches in town to areas that they see and they're exposed to, and ask others to do the same. We've already engaged with our business community as well, looking for those areas. So you can send those into our community development department. You can also send it to the clerk's office, and we'll put those on the list as we continue to get together and show how proud people are to live here in Coffeyville. I did want to say, you'll notice today that we had 2 ordinances that we came in and changed, updated, kind of refurbished those ordinances, and you're going to continue to see that. We have a long list of ordinances that staff has been going in and analyzing, are we following this ordinance? Does it actually apply today? Some of these ordinances could be decades old, and just the application doesn't apply. Some are based on methodologies from the past that were good then that need to change now, and so we expect that you'll continue to see that. We are working on those, updating those. They can get complicated. They can affect other ordinances and resolutions, and so we're making sure to do our due diligence there. That's some of the reason people are seeing so many ordinances on here, is because of those updates, kind of that refurbishment, and making sure that staff is actually following those ordinances and that they actually apply to the community how they were meant to do.
And
So-
are these being updated on the website?
Yes, the system that Melissa has, you want to explain that?
Yes, so all of those are done through Municode. So when we get an ordinance, once it's passed its second reading, then I send those to Municode. Through Municode, they go in on that link on our website to the Code of Ordinances. They go in and they update all of that, so everything is up to date on there.
Thank you.
Commissioners, that's all I have, barring any questions.
I have a question. Talk about code enforcement, specifically personnel, people, as it relates to our new ordinance concerning vacant commercial buildings. I understand right now they're carrying 2 buckets of overwhelm as it is. So is this going to, how much of an additional burden is this going to place on them? And how soon might we expect to see some movement in terms of actually getting this ordinance in place and action being taken on these kinds of properties?
How long do you have? Code enforcement, I would put that up there nearly at the number 2 range from what I hear from both commissioners and the public. Number 1 is our roads, our streets condition, and then next is code enforcement, beautification, both on the positive and negative side. Why did you send me this letter on my grass? And then why aren't you taking care of my neighbor's grass? We get that on both sides. When it comes to vacant properties, when it comes to what code enforcement is doing, when it comes to animal control, this is, it's very large and it's multifaceted. There's lots of components here. And so from the strategic side of this, community development, which has planning and zoning and building inspection within it, really is taking that strategic focus on how these things apply and when to pull in code enforcement, when this is a building inspection, does this have to do with tenants and landlords? So very complex there, lots of departments touch that. I don't think code enforcement will be involved in it immediately. This will, and some of this is still being developed, but we will go out, we will send letters notifying these property owners of this new ordinance. Within that, we're rather than send 2 letters and then follow up with a letter of, oh, by the way, here's some violations that are on the code side that you need to address, we'll bake that into that letter. The difficult part when it comes to code enforcement that the city's experience really comes down to budgeted money. I had someone ask, why are we spending this money in downtown when there are these issues residential? And we have to remember that all of our monies are assigned a job. It's not a if then that, a situation where if I spend money in downtown, I can't spend it on code enforcement. So when we come to our code enforcement budget, that's out of our refuse fund. We have between $150,000 and $180,000 within that fund to utilize for code enforcement. Then we have a little bit more out of the general fund as we've started combining animal control within those jobs. So specific code enforcement immediately in the implementation of this may not have much of a role, but how we tie in code enforcement issues with our vacant building registry, with some of these other issues, again, it's a strategic approach that's run by community development.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm going to just layer on top of that, we've had several meetings on code enforcement and all things that applies, and I've done a lot of research out there. In fact, I think it's the Center for Community, where's it at here? I just had it up on my computer. Center for Community something or other. It's a federal, it's a non-government entity, but at the federal level. It'll go into cities like Wichita and Kansas City and Chicago and help them develop code enforcement. And they are nationwide over the last few years, there's been a movement to get away from traditional and reactionary code enforcement and move into more of a strategic, and that has to do with what are you chalking up as wins. As a win, we went in, we did the paperwork, we use the ordinance, we use a court system, we use officers, and we attach these violations into a tax letter. It's now on their tax bill, and we go in and we just clean up the property. That's been wins for us. Here's how many we did this year. A strategic approach says through education base, still have to have some of that enforcement component, but can we get neighborhoods to partner together? Can we use other sources, church, volunteer groups like Coffeyville Proud, and make changes in these neighborhoods? And can that be our win rather than we went in and forced it on a tax side, purely enforcement? Where do we balance that education, that strategic value of code enforcement? So I had another call with, it's called LGN. I don't remember what that stands for. It's out of Wichita State today. Kathy Sexton, we talked about code enforcement and those changes and what cities in Kansas are doing that. It's very complicated. You're dealing with people's property. You're dealing with ordinance forcing them to pay tax dollars anyways, then it gets into landlords and who's rightfully at fault here. It's so complicated. We have limited money. So this year you will see, as we've mentioned in our budget process, we're trying to find some additional revenues that can be put in code enforcement so we can move to this strategic level. And we're going to have a lot of conversations with you about that. You know, should we do less grass? Should we do more abatements? Should we do more grass and less abatements? So many components there. End of the day, it'd be great if everyone would have a level of personal responsibility for their property when you live in a community to keep it to a standard that everyone wants. Now, you have created those standards, and commissioners before you have created those standards, and ultimately that's what we're trying to hold to. We're just trying to find different approaches that maybe get us a little bit more bang for our buck. And that's the strategic side. It sounds fluffy and cool and great. In practice, it's very difficult, but we are analyzing that and trying to make those changes. That was a long, long answer to your simple question.
But it does boil down to, you want people to take pride in their own property, and then you don't have to enforce these codes on people that are abiding by the codes. So you just want people to take pride in their property.
It's being respectful to each other
Sure.
as citizens.
Yeah,
It's
and-
basically what it boils down
Well,
to.
there's a health and safety component there. I mean,
Yes.
we have a lot of these rules for a reason. You're not allowed to put human waste in a trash can. There are ordinances about that, and that comes up, and what that does for a community. And so there's health and safety components, and long grass and trash will attract rodents and other critters that goes into your neighbor's house. So there's health and safety. There's just general beautification people wanting. There's property values. There's legal activity in certain areas with certain things. So there's a lot of really good reasons why people do want this and want us to be on it as well.
Okay.
Comments from commissioners or staff? Anybody have anything?
I just have a question, a couple of questions. When you talked about 4th Street and they're going to come back in Thursday, correct? Is it from 4th through to Buckeye the whole way, or
It's-
is
it's-
it
it's
a
nearly the
certain
whole-
area? Okay,
It's nearly the whole. One side, I think going west, one side is a little bit better than the rest. If you're traveling past Klein and going east, most of it, it's not like you're hitting potholes, but you can
Yeah,
definitely feel
okay.
the up and down of.
Doesn't feel like a
driving.
new road.
Yeah.
well, okay. So the cones that are from Edgewood to Ohio on 4th, is that getting ready to do what in that area? The curbs maybe or something?
From Edgewood to.
From Edgewood, which is would be the street right before the bridge.
Right.
To Ohio, which is right there by CE.
There's a
On the
bunch
west
of
side of
cones.
CE.
Right.
There's a bunch of cones.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
all lined up. And
So-
so I didn't know if they were doing the curbing there or what, and I
Well,
couldn't remember.
the curbing that's going to be coming back is more in the fall.
Okay.
They have been finishing, and I have to go out there, and
And
I don't
that's-
see Jim's
okay.
here. They have been finishing off some of those entrances. The other thing that cones might be for is the county did come out, and I think in preparation, they're going to be bringing in large pieces of equipment.
Okay.
They may have dropped off some cones.
Is that
I'd have
for
to go
the-
out and look
the
and
log
see.
jam?
Yes,
Okay,
for the
and
log
maybe
jam
that's
area.
it. But I was just curious, because they, okay. Our area around the hospital, when will all that kind of be due to start?
Well, 4th Street was the start of that.
Right, I know
and
that
then-
part's done.
And then they came up there next to the north and south roads, at Lee Street, next to the tennis courts.
Right?
And so we're using the same subs, so you kind of start moving around. These are all fall projects as they get one done.
Okay.
So Lee
So they're
Street.
they're on Lee Street right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're up
Yes.
on Lee Street. That got slowed down a little bit when the engineers came out. They didn't recognize the spillway that we had coming off of Lee Street, and so they were removing basically a turnaround for emergency vehicles that you couldn't remove, so we had to do some redesign. So Lee Street was going a little bit slower than we anticipated, but
Okay.
just each of those projects is sort of one after another, and they're moving in. 6th and 7th Street.
Yes, that's my next question.
Yep. We've had some issues there as well. Communication didn't go grand with Atmos, And so we're hoping that their lines are finally removed by the end of this week.
Okay.
CDL Electric was in there doing water lines and had some mishaps as well, so that's also slowed the down of coming out to that project. So just kind of some normal
Hiccups. I get, and I
normal
get it.
delays
I
of
just-
construction things that come
I
up.
understand. I
Yeah.
understand. And I noticed BG Consultants, they've been down 8th Street, up and down 8th Street a lot.
Yep, 8th
this
Street,
week.
we
Doing
we
the
are look.
surveying
Yep, we're
for-
doing the survey there. They were also down at Luark. That should be happening here pretty quick, where
Okay.
we've got those grant monies. They're coming in and kind of cleaning up, kind of from Brahms, in front of Brahms, in front of that old Walmart, the part of the highway there, if you recall, that's a grant. So, yeah, we just have a lot
Well,
of
you have a
work
lot to
happening
do,
in town.
and I see various comments about as if we're not doing anything, but the city is, or our contractors that we've got, they are. It's just sometimes, a lot of times, you run into things that don't work out like you had planned or hoped, and so, it
Well, I
takes a
think
little
people
bit
also don't
longer.
understand the prep work involved in a lot
Right.
of this. Just because you're not, seem like you're doing stuff, doesn't mean prep work is going on to get it right the first time.
Right, and if you're waiting on some
And-
other utilities, you're kind of at their mercy to
Yeah.
get their
And
part done.
grants, that's
Yes.
Luark was a big grant, there's
Yes.
timelines within that process, so
Yes.
there's a lot of things
Yes.
that can hold us up, but yes, we are moving
Things are
forward in
moving.
all of these, as quickly as the conditions allow.
Okay.
And I did remember another one. Where are we on the, I'll call it the parking lot project across the street, south of the senior center, and then also at 11th and Walnut?
So Sycamore, North Park, 11th and Walnut, all of those are having parking lots. We are going through, I think, by the end of next week, the bid should be out for the 11th and Walnut. And then we'll be bringing that to commission for options there. I mean, bids are going to go out this next week. I'm thinking Thomas is thinking, I shouldn't say I'm thinking, I don't know how much it costs to do a parking lot, but as Thomas is going through and doing those numbers with Jim, it's going to be like $250,000 for that little corner right there. So we'll be bringing that to commissioners. Another option, you can just turn it all to grass. You could leave it alone. So that one is coming because of the bid process. The other two are being worked on through our parks already approved process to get those as well. The one across the street here, that one is challenging. I did meet with a representative from the senior center the next day after our last meeting. Came in, was very gracious. We had a great conversation, probably 45 minutes or an hour. Talked about their proposal, how that did or didn't fit into the grand scheme of what we were doing. Ultimately, if we were to go out and turn that into a parking lot, it's about 7,000 square feet bigger than the one on 11th and Walnut. Doesn't have draining in there like we'd have to do, so I would expect that we're also up in the $250,000 range. The whole intent of that was we had ugly gravel and a $50,000 grant that we could come in and just make it look nicer. Right now, we are going out, we're getting the quotes for what it would take to put in street parking on both within the alley and on the street there. Same thing, I anticipate that to be significant dollars, and so ultimately the commission will have to make that decision on, do we want to go ahead and spend that money? Do we want to just leave it a gravel lot? Do we want to go ahead and get the $50,000 grant and put in a little bit nicer area? So we will leave that up to you. You'll have a lot of feedback. We can go out and reapply for another area in town. That takes significant time, where we might be 90 days in, 60 days into this current survey, the requirements for the grant, and so we'd have to go redo that. But it'd be unfortunate because you just kind of have an eyesore next to City Hall. One of the reasons that Commission approved redoing some of the landscaping at this building was, this is a center for government activity. We also have county court upstairs. A lot of people come here, and we'd like our community to be nice and inviting looking. So No action at this point to bring to commission. We are actively seeking out costs for what I believe solves the senior center problem, which is on-street alley parking, putting up signs for no parking in front of the senior center. And then if you'll look out the window over here to the north, we have a huge section that's been years ago just yellowed off. We could turn that into parking. We can put out signs to encourage court parking in our lot, because the days that I've gone out, when the gravel lot is full, we have 30 spaces open in our lot. So if the court folks come over, that relieves it. So lots of options. We're working on the cost of all those options. Like I said, it wasn't intended to be a big dollar project. It was intended to be a small dollar. But with some of the frustrations that we're getting from the senior center, it would very quickly turn into a big dollar project. And so we'll bring all those details and let
Okay.
commission make a decision there.
And one more thing, this morning I saw the mowers downtown again, and I know things are winding down, but they continue to show every week they're out doing, that downtown looks great. Lots of citizens have commented about that to me, on how it looks good. And our cemetery still does too. I was up there last week. And
Yes.
Cemeteries are challenging, they are.
We're down 5 staff in the cemetery.
Are
Our
you?
foreman's been out doing mowing as well.
Okay.
That's just the nature of that seasonal and temporary staff as you get to the end of the year and kids go back to school and people pick up their other non-seasonal jobs. So it gets more and more challenging through the end of this year. So they are doing a great job, as difficult as it is.
But thank you to them for that. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Okay, if not, I will move to adjourn.
And I'll second.
A motion is made by Mayor Maples, second by Vice Mayor Van Oster to adjourn. Can I see a show of hands? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.